All right, great. Thank you guys for coming today. I've got a lot of good information for you. So hopefully you'll get a lot of good tips out of this. It's kind of been a lot of the things I've been doing over the last few weeks or the last months have been, ideas on how to utilize specific platforms, uh, the nuts and bolts of being able to build your marketing, and hopefully you've grabbed little ideas here and there that were helpful and useful for you to use. Today it's a little different. I do have some of those things as well, but I really want to talk about more or less the whole concept of marketing, really some marketing essentials in this time that we're living in, because it has really caused us to rethink the way we do business. And in the way, I mean, for a lot of us, networking was, out face-to-face networking was an important component of our marketing plan, when we can't do that anymore. Excuse me. None of us thought that back in, I don't know, but for me, I had no clue back in March when all of this started happening that, we would be 7 months in and still dealing with business limitations, the things that we can do, the things we can, the way we meet, the way we do business. I figured, a couple of months it'll run its course and we'll be back to normal. But we're not back to normal. We're far from back to normal. And, who knows what the new normal is going to be. I mean, are we going to get back to a point where we used to be? Or is this sort of the template for what the business is going to be now, at least for the next few years? I know I was talking to a gentleman yesterday whose son works for one of the casinos in Vegas, and and they're talking about no live shows until 2022 in Vegas. So there's a lot of things are changing, and as a result, businesses are really having to either struggle to survive, or they're having to find new ways to market because the old ways don't work, and it's sort of been all thrown out, and the old the way we used to do things is not there. So it's really causing us to be better communicators, or it's going to require us to be better communicators. It's going to require us to really adapt our business models, or we're going to fall by the wayside. And so I want to give you some marketing essentials that I think will give you some really good ideas on how do you market how you can shift your marketing ideas and your thought processes and your strategies, and come up with new innovative ways to do things. So let me share my screen, and we will get started. So yeah, I call this marketing essentials for the new normal. I hate that new normal term, but it is what it is. And we have to deal with how do we do business, and how do we adjust our thinking processes, because it is a changing times. I mean, we have less face-to-face interactions nowadays. We have more online shopping and research, with people if we're more confined to our offices or our homes, we have more time to shop and research. And so as a result, if you're thinking, I need this service or that service, I need financial services, I need, maybe I'm looking for a new house, or maybe I'm changing my marketing plan, whatever it might be, we got all the time in the world to research that now. And so that's making us think, how do we fit in? Are we able to be found when people are doing that research? And what are they finding when they're researching our business, our industry? There's increased competition from a standpoint of, we're fighting for, we're really struggling trying to keep up with the competition that's out there, because as everybody else gets, out of that comfort zone of this is my niche market and I got to expand, well, so that increases competition. Now, one thing it does do, though, and from a standpoint of advertising revenue, it has brought pay-per-click advertising on Google and Facebook and places like that. It's brought that cost down because there again, people are sort of guarding their budget a little more. So, like I said, it's changing times. And one of the biggest things we need to do, probably the most important thing, is to improve our communication skills. Keep your name in front of your past clients and current prospects. The idea that your existing clients are going to always be loyal to you and remember you and all that is not the case. Remember, they're researching. Maybe they find somebody that does a better job than you. Maybe somebody else's website does a better job of explaining what you offer. So we got to keep our name in front of our clients, not just from a standpoint of the brand awareness, which is important, but also from a standpoint of value add, so that we can provide them with valuable information, valuable education, valuable propositions that help them save money, save time, increase productivity, whatever it might be. If you don't have an email marketing list, you've got to be growing that list. If you have one, you need to grow it. If you don't have one, you need to be building one. You've heard me say it before. Those of you that have been on previous webinars, you've heard me say one of the only things you control, the two things you control in digital marketing, your website and your email list. Excuse me. If you don't have that email marketing list, then you're missing a boat on a powerful tool to be able to connect. And, and by that, I don't mean just having, names in your contact form or in Gmail or something like that, because that's not really an effective tool. You can't send out to those like you should and all the things you need to do. So something like MailChimp or Aweber or Constant Contact, those are the three biggies that are out there that will help you build your list, and they have a lot of tools and a lot of things available. For those of you that don't have an email list, MailChimp is an inexpensive way to go. It has some limitations. Constant Contact is a great source. I see Pam's on the webinar today, Pam Furlong. So if you're interested in figuring out seeing if Constant Contact is something that would be of value, Pam is an expert in Constant Contact and helps set it up and can help you get set up and rolling with that. So Pam, if you want to put your contact in the contact info in the chat, then go ahead and do that. And that way people can grab it if they're interested in setting up those. Consistent and regular communication is the key. You can't send out an email whenever you think about it, because that's not effective. Because what's going to happen is you're going to send out an email blast, and then 4 months later, you're going to think about doing it again, and you're losing the value of the consistency of the communication. And I don't mean to bombard them every week with something. And I don't mean send out an email blast just because you need to, just because you think, okay, it's on my marketing plan to do. It needs to be, some consistent value message that you send out. It could be humorous. It could be, just a thought of the day. It could be, Pam's doing a really good job sending out recipes to all of her, everyone on her list. So it's that constant communication that people go, oh, that's cool. I'm looking forward to the next version of. And that's really what you're trying to achieve, is that anticipation of your communication so that it gets open. That's the whole key. social media for brand awareness. You know, social media is a beautiful tool for building your brand. You're not going to make sales off social media to amount to anything. Now, granted, that does happen. And I know, especially in the real estate market, I know people that have, closed big deals with their from their social media presence. But again, it has to be done with brand awareness, not pitching and hyping your message, not saying, hey, if you're a realtor, not saying, buy my house, open house, new listing, coming soon listing, just sold. That gets lost in the clutter. Every other realtor is doing this. So what you want to do is be different. And I'm going to talk about that here just in a moment. Social media for brand awareness is a critical tool. That's why I spend a lot of my social media presence is on things like this. It's on educating people and giving them information that they go, wow, that was really great. It's always the people folks I talked to yesterday or maybe day before said, I watched a lot of your webinars and I really, and I get a lot out of them because you're clear and concise and, I really learn a lot from it. And that makes me feel good because I know that I've done my job in educating them, but I've also built my brand because people recognize the fact that I am knowledgeable in the digital marketing space and that I can be, that I give them good information on how they can be better in their digital marketing space. So brand awareness through communications in your social media is a key component as well. But we really have to think of new modes of communication. Now, I'm not saying we abandon those things because email marketing is essential. Social media is essential. But what you want to think about from a standpoint of social media, for example, maybe you're just using Facebook. Well, maybe it's time to explore Instagram and see if Instagram might be a component that might be workable for you. Or maybe it is time to explore Pinterest if your business is visual and graphics. Maybe you want to add to your marketing mix of social media and pick up another, communication. Maybe if you're not blogging, if you're not writing blogs, maybe that's something that you need to pick up and do. Video blogs are another idea. I know a lot of folks hate to write things. They hate to write a blog. It's time consuming, but yet if you'll sit down and do it as a video and just talk about something in your industry, most of us can do that relatively easy. I can, if you give me the topic, I can, if you say, hey, Gary, can you give me 5 minutes on website platforms? Sure. What do you want to know? Bang, bang, bang. And I can spit it all out without even thinking about it. And we can all do that about our business. We know our businesses so well, but it's that block that when we sit down and go, I have to write something. Oh my gosh. It's like going back to school. My 12th grade English teacher is, looking over my shoulder and, tapping her ruler because I didn't do something right. And by the way, that side note, take a little detour here, but that really is where I learned to write decent. Now, I don't say I'm a great writer, but I did learn to write relatively well in my 12th grade English class because we had our high school was on what's called a module system. So you had free time. And so during my senior research paper, I would go in and write a piece of my paper, and then I would take it to the teacher and have her review it, make sure I was doing it right. And then I wrote the next part. So she was notoriously hard. And I got one of the only 2 A's in senior English that she gave. The other one went to the principal's daughter. So there you go. So you can figure out ways to do anything. Podcasts is another idea. A lot of people really pick up on podcasts, and because it gives them something to listen to while they're driving, while they're, maybe in the background while they're working. Podcasts they're easy to set up. And if you do a video, you can, in most places, you can pull the audio out of that video track and use it as a podcast. If you use Zoom, for example, and you're doing a webinar on Zoom, excuse me, you can turn that into a podcast by just taking the audio file, setting it up on a free podcast service like Podbean, and there's a bunch of them out there. And now you've got an audio track on your communication. So keep that in mind. That's another way to utilize your communications. Chatbot is another, using chat on your website is another something to look at. And if you think in terms of how people communicate, one of the things that that a lot of people do is they want to, they don't want to necessarily call because it's time consuming or whatever, but they'll take time to do a chat. I'm gonna pull this over from my other screen here, just show you real quick. This is my website. You'll notice down here in the lower corner is this little chat icon. And if you click on that, it opens up the Facebook chat where people can then can then actually chat with me on my website. It's a really simple tool to add in. It took me about 5 minutes to do it. And so this is something you may want to consider, because when you do that, then somebody can then ask you a question. If they click on that, it pulls up my Facebook Messenger, and I already have 4 questions preset, and they can ask anything else. But if they ask a question, like what services do you offer? Do you help with existing websites or just build new? Have questions about my social media? I'm interested. Can you tell me more? These are conversation starters. And so what happens is if they click on what services do you offer, guess what? It's going to then come back with a automated response. And if you heard something jingle in the background, that was my notification that I just got a chat reminder. So it gives you a chance, and I did it as a guest. I didn't sign it as me, but it gives you a way to showcase what you do and sort of get that conversation started. And then they can click on that link, and guess what? It takes them to my website. Now, that's assuming, like I said, they found me from Facebook, but it takes them to a specific page in my website, not just the homepage, which gives them more information. So the chat bot is a really cool way to do things, inexpensive way. With a lot of the chats there, they can be a little more costly. So that's why I like this little Facebook when it's, like it's free and it's easy to tie in. Now I also have another one I'm working on right now. It's an animated, it's called a Chatter Pal, which means that when that's working, then somebody's it'll walk across my, screen and give somebody an animated, character will give them about my website, kind of a greeting and what we're all about and that kind of thing. So that's a cool little tool that I'm working on developing right now too. But think of new modes of communication. How can your communication change? How can you get better at and more innovative at the things you do? Some content suggestions, things you may want to think about, especially for your email marketing or for your social media posts or even blog posts. What's happening with your business? So let them know what's going on. What are the new things that you're doing? What are changes to your business that you're making? How do you operate your business now under these times? All of those things can really be important, and it kind of keeps people in the loop and lets them know what's going on. Be a resource for your clients or customers. How can you do the things like I'm doing? How can you provide a value service that helps people and keeps them informed about what you do and about how it, how your business works, how they can utilize your services in their business. So be a resource. You can do behind the scenes. You can, let people know what's happening with if you've got a team, or, if you personally, what are some of the things that's going on behind the scenes? It's people like to be kind of led into the inner circle, and that's what a behind the scenes type of content will be. And that's one of the things that does is the personality of that. Some of you, if those of you follow my page on Facebook, you might have seen my post the other day on my business page. And I did it on my business page, and I did it purposely because I posted a picture of my grandkids out in the backyard hunting Easter eggs on Monday. And the comment was, "Happy Easter." It is Easter, isn't it? We don't know what day it is, really. We don't know what holiday's coming up now. But I got a lot of interesting comments and a lot of reaction to that. So what did that have to do with business? Nothing. What did it have to do with personality? It opened that insight into something that's important to me, and that's my grandkids and, and that kind of stuff. So that being personal, being, behind the scenes, and is a great source for content. Social good. I was last Friday, I believe it was, one of the escrow officers at Pioneer that's working with the Assistance League called me in a panic because they normally do a gala type thing, and dinner or banquet or whatever, and they usually do a banner and a gala or something of that nature, and they do a silent auction, and they haven't been able to do it. So their charity, therefore, is really struggling. And so she was and so I got with her and I said, okay, here's how we should do this. Do it on a Facebook, on a group, and, that kind of thing. And and was able to pull it off, and it went through, I think, relatively well. So if you and then as a result, I shared that from my page to let people know that was happening. So how can you support local charities? How can you support your local causes? What are some things that you can do to really help them survive and continue the services that they provided the community? And so by sharing social good, that goes a long way. People love the idea that you have a compassion for local businesses. National is fine too, but I really think our local businesses are the ones that we really should step up and try to support. So let people know how you offer that way. Offer more value. It's tough. I mean, we all work on, none of us are turning into multimillionaires with our business, right? I mean, we're all trying to make ends meet the best we can. But if we can offer more value, we sort of up the game, and maybe it's a case where, yeah, we have to give away a little more information right now, but it comes back in the long run. So we can, if there are things we can do like free trial or like extended terms or payment options. I was reading an article by the guy has a software, it's probably a content management type of software. And he was talking about that, during this time, he quit really pushing his business, and he really started offering more free trials. And as a result, he said he actually upped his total revenue, or his revenue went up rather than going down, because what happened was the folks that took the free trial felt like, well, gosh, the guy gave me a free trial. I should just, this is great. I want to go ahead and just, go ahead and buy the subscription to whatever he was. So, we find that people, if they see that you're concerned, they're going to try to help you and them is in the same terms. So does that make sense? Yeah. So constant contact. Yeah. Pam does have free trials. She just posted there as well. So she has free trials of constant contact. So keep that in mind. And those are, if you want to give it a shot and see how it works. Help others selflessly. Show your compassionate side. I went to I went to one of my clients, and I went in their retail location, and they're on Broadway between Campbell, Keno, and Tucson Boulevard. So if you've been down that way, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't been that way, avoid it. They're tearing the street up and they're tearing Broadway up, and it's really taking a toll on his business. But he's I've hosted his website for years, and they always pay me annually. And so I went in there and took him the invoice, and I said, look, the hosting is due, but don't pay me. You guys got bigger issues and the things you need to take care of. And so just here it is. And when you're ready and you can, great. So, and did I have to do that? No, but you try to help others, and and I just feel like that in the long run that comes back to you, and it shows that your business has again, community, compassionate, all those kind of things. Develop a unique selling proposition. And this is a quote from Seth Godin. Instead of working so hard to prove the skeptics wrong, it makes a lot more sense to delight the true believers. They deserve it after all, and they're the ones that are going to spread the word for you. So what's a unique selling proposition? Well, basically, it is what you do, what you offer that your competition doesn't. It's the differentiator that between your business and everyone else. So what do you offer that they don't do? What are things you do they can't do? Why does your business deserve your prospects' time, money, and trust? It's the things that we offer, the service, the value, the attention to detail. All of those things are important components of that unique selling proposition, but they're things that we need to figure out. It's something we really need to identify and define what makes us different. And so this is really, and it takes some thinking to be able to come up with that, because it's like, in a lot of cases, yeah, we do the same thing as everybody else, but you don't. You bring different skills, different things to the table. Your competition won't be as much concerned if won't be as much concerned if you change the rules. So you don't have to worry about the competition if you can change the way the game is played. So if your competition is still marketing the same way, if they're still offering the same type of plans and programs and services, but you do something different, then you don't have to worry about the competition, because you're going to step out above them. The proposition must be one the competition cannot or does not offer. So that's really the structure of what a unique selling proposition is. And oops, come on. Some of the things you want to be aware of when you're creating that proposition is avoid generic language like we're the best. We provide the best service. We are the number one, the top of the heap in whatever it is that we do. Prove it. I never say in any of my marketing pitch anywhere that I provide the best service there is. I want somebody else to say that. I want my business to say that. I want my expertise level. I want these webinars to say that. I want my blog posts to say that. I want my videos to convey that information, so that I don't have to come out and say we're the best. Because if it's, you do generic language like that, it's like, really? Well, you're the 47th person in your industry that said the same thing. So why do I believe you? Speak to why and how you stand out in your market. Rather than just say you're the best, you say, this is stories of what I've done. This is successes that I've done. This is how how I helped my market. Don't confuse the unique selling proposition with a product feature. It's how you serve your customer, not what your benefits of your product does. So it's that service aspect, the next level, rather than just a product feature. It's not like, my product will save people time and money. Well, how does your involvement in that work? You definitely want to avoid sales pitches because, that's, again, that becomes disingenuous, and providing the evidence, you want to provide evidence to back up your claims. So again, just like the story with the retail company a few minutes ago, it backs up how I am concerned about the community and my clients and their health and well-being. So how do we get new prospects? We want to find new ways to develop prospects. And one of those involves growing your reputation awareness. And again, this goes back to social media. So how do you grow your reputation? How do you get people to trust the fact that you do what you say? And that's in case studies, and that comes with testimonials and reviews. So those are components that help you build your reputation and help solidify your position of what you're saying. You want to engage with your prospects on social media. So rather than just post, you need to engage. You need to get people to talk about, excuse me, what their problems are, what are their challenges, what are the things that they're dealing with in your industry. And so when you can share that content, when you can share that kind of information, you have a whole lot better connection with them. And then you can pull that connection offline to a one-on-one and talk about some things you can do for them. Shift from aggressive selling to educational selling. And I know most of you guys, and I know you're not hard sell, so I know you're doing more of a consultative selling where you're, what's your problem and how can I help you, and how does my solution fit into your problem area. But we can also do that through educational selling as well. Blogs, LinkedIn articles are a huge tool. And believe me, I think for most of you guys, if you're not utilizing LinkedIn and really starting to grow your presence there, I think you're missing the boat. So keep that in mind. LinkedIn articles, you can take a blog, you can repurpose it into a LinkedIn article that's shorter, because I think there is a limitation to a LinkedIn article, but you can so you can share an excerpt of it and then drive them to your website to read the whole thing and see more. So it's sort of a strategy for using LinkedIn for educational. Facebook Live, it's got the best engagement results of anything on Facebook. So if you're not using Facebook Live, I highly recommend that you do that. Don't be afraid of it. Just jump in there and do it. It won't bite, I promise. And if you make mistakes, you just go, oops, no, that wasn't what I meant to say. And you go right on. LinkedIn video. Here's another place for video that is a really strong brand builder, connection maker. So if you create a video and you use it in your profile feature section in your LinkedIn profile, you can have a video that says, this is the things I do. This is how I work. And those videos should be client-centered. So those of you that have heard me say that before, it talks about what I do for my client. So basically the video I have on my page talks about I help small businesses improve their return on investment for their marketing efforts. I do that with the balanced approach of website design, search engine optimization, social media marketing, coaching, and training. My clients are going to experience improved search engine result, increased traffic, and they're going to convert more browsers into buyers. All client facing, all client centered. And that's really what your video needs to say. You can create a video post. You are limited. I did a video post for a lead up to this particular webinar. And I created shot a short 4-minute video, I think 4 or 5 minute video. I didn't even edit it. I just kind of scripted out what I wanted to say, shot it, posted it, and let it go. So video posts are great. You can do videos in your experience section as well. So there's a lot of opportunities to use video. They also, LinkedIn is now going to offer LinkedIn Live as well, but it is, you have to request it. You have to fill out a form. You go to LinkedIn Live and request to have access to it. Tell them what you're going to be doing and where it's going to go and all that. And then they'll come back to you in a few weeks and let you know if you've got it or not. I haven't got access to it yet. I've been in the first one I put in was a month ago, and I did something wrong with it when I went back and looked. So I resubmitted it about, I guess it's about 3 weeks ago, middle of September. So I'll let you know when that's available. And also LinkedIn Stories is coming soon. So that's going to be another opportunity for immediacy, urgency, if it has the same effect that Facebook and Instagram Stories have, that 24-hour short-lived content that's there and goes away. So watch for that. Again, I haven't got access to that. It's going to be mobile only, and my mobile app doesn't have it yet. So I'll let you know and do a video when that is available. Hashtags. Those of you that might have been on last week, you heard me talk about hashtags. I'll just kind of briefly cover it. You want to research the hashtags to find out where your prospects are hanging out. So hashtags are the new search engine optimization for social media. You can put up to 30 hashtags in an Instagram post, although I don't recommend that many, probably 15 to 20. But LinkedIn, probably just 3 to 5 per post. And Facebook, same way, maybe 5 per post. So those are options for you. That's what you want to do with Facebook Live. I mean, with hashtags, but it's a great way to be found in many different options. Lastly, I want to talk about diverting your marketing budget. So how many of you were spending money on networking, going out and meeting people one-on-one, networking events, networking groups, lunches and dinners and breakfasts and all that kind of stuff? So, how much money were you spending on all that? Well, if it's possible, why not divert that budget to online efforts? So maybe you want to take some of that budget that you were spending and boost some posts or do some paid ads. That's one option. You can even set up a retargeting campaign where visitors that come to your website that don't take an action, then like fill out a form or ask a question or whatever, then you can retarget to send them an ad to follow up with more information. So retargeting is a cool little tool. It is a paid ad. It is paid. It's through primarily through Facebook, but you can do it through Google as well. So differentiation is one of the most important strategic and tactical activities in which companies must consistently engage. That's from a Harvard business professor. But really, it's about thinking outside the box. It's really, about, are we going to change the way we do business? Are we going to just keep our head buried in the sand? Are we really going to be the person that's outside the box, thinking of new ways that we can grow, improve, uh, and be different from our competition. So think outside the box. Think how you can be different, because it's going to be important. We have to do that, or we're really going to, there's a chance we just stagnate, or we aren't able to move forward. So a little bit of information there on marketing essentials. Next week, I will be starting my 90-day Novice to Ninja course. It's going to be over a 90-day period. We're going to do webinars along the lines of this. I'll do a little deeper dive into different topics, but we're also, so it's going to be step-by-step training and on demand. We're going to have a closed Facebook group that where people can access and have questions, and a forum that goes. But the biggest thing we're going to do with the Novice to Ninja is going to be an implementation. So whereas I gave you some information today, we're actually going to go, okay, here's how we implement the topic that we're doing this week, because it's great. I mean, it's nice to be able to learn it, but if you can actually implement and create a strategy that is generating business for you, then that's really what we're trying to do. So if you're interested, 90-day Novice to Ninja.com is the website where you can go sign up. It is going to be right now, the course is going to be $127 for the entire time. $127 is going to be really cheap, because I'm giving you 90 days worth of instruction and hands-on training. So I'm sure the next time I roll this out, it's going to be more. But but for you guys, a lot of you have been on these calls every week, so I want to give you an opportunity to take advantage of it. As always, there's my contact information. Anybody have any questions, anything that that didn't make sense to you, you can ask the question in the chat, or you can put it in Q&A, either one, and I will try to answer anything that you might have. So give it a second. I don't see any questions coming up, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the record. So thanks you guys. Like I said, if you're interested in the 90-day Novice to Ninja,